Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is the Tulsa Tough Arts District Criterium. This is the women's 2, 3, and masters. As you see, Camila had a little bit of trouble clipping in there. That's Camila Arenas right there to the right in the LABA kit. The camera perspective is from Marlena Bemis, who's guest writing for LABA on this race. LABA entered 4 women in this race, and that was Camila Arenas, Catalina Fierro, and Gabby along with Marlena Bemis. So Marlena usually rides for PAA, but she's doing a guest ride this week for LABA, or during the Tulsa weekend for LABA. So anyway, this is a pretty good crit. I mean, it's not like California, like your normal 4-corner crit. So this crit has a little bit of character to it, as you can see in the top corner up there. It's a little bit of a L shape, or it's a little bit even though, not like a traditional L shape. So maybe a V or whatever you want to call it. It has a little bit of uphill, which we're on that section now. And then it has pretty much a fast downhill section. So it's kind of half the course is uphill, half of it's downhill. So if you watch these videos, since Marlena's moved up to, Cat 3 and been racing some of the P1, 2, 3 races, she always starts off in the back. No different here. The only different is this time she has a reason to start off in the back. She doesn't know it right now, but her tire is flat. You can tell, like, when she's going through the corner, she doesn't have confidence going through the corner, and it's like something's off, but she couldn't tell at first what was off. And the tire was leaking, and eventually it just completely flats on her, and she has to roll into the pit and get some wheel service. So here, even though she's trying to accelerate, all that kind of stuff, when you're excited and you doing your first big race like this, you don't know if it's just hard because she's putting in an effort, so you don't know if it's just hard or if something's wrong. And unfortunately, she noticed a little too late that not too late, but it just took her a couple laps to notice that, hey, something's wrong. So, all these big races that are part of like the USA Crit Series, or, any of these national series races, they collect a lot of talent. A lot of people come to race, a lot of talented riders, have this as their A race, things like that. And for me and for LABA, how my relationship started with LABA is a little over a year and a half ago. Damon started talking to me about LABA, about coaching Camila for getting her ready for Tulsa Tough. And unfortunately, last year, some things happened where she wasn't able to race Tulsa Tough, but that's when I started coaching her, like maybe a month or so before Tulsa Tough last year. So, she wasn't able to race last year, so we put it on our calendar this year, and this was basically her A race. So we were pretty much gearing towards having a really good performance here in Tulsa. So that's basically like how my relationship kind of started with LABA, and that's why you see, like, you may see in the future some more LABA videos along with our PAA videos that I usually put out. So yeah, you can see Marlena's really struggling here, even on the downhill. And again, like I said, she has a flat tire and just doesn't realize that it's losing air like each lap. And how it is when you ride with a flat tire, it's like you just can't carry speed. You're using more power than you want to use, and you're still not able to accelerate. Obviously, it starts getting a little squishy, and your bike handling is definitely not the same. So, when you go from low air to no air, then of course you can tell, but when it's a little bit low, sometimes you just don't notice it fast enough. So yeah, right there you got like Damon on the side yelling at Marlena to move up, and the race is pretty good. It's not real hot, but you can tell how it's strung out, and a lot of these ladies are not used to this course. Some of them, a lot of times it's your first time doing it. So yeah, it's gonna take a little bit for people to get used to it, used to where they can attack, what line to take. The good thing is the streets are narrow here, more narrow than like our LA or Southern California area crits. Here we have some really wide roads, and it kind of forces people to, it doesn't force people, but it allows people to take multiple lines. That was Gabby that Marlena just passed right there, and this is Catalina in front of her. Those are two of her other teammates for this weekend. And unfortunately, as you know, Marlena's trying to move up and still stay attached to the front group. You know, right here is where she notices, like, hey, something's really wrong now. Like, I'm really losing my steering. I can't go through the corners. And, you know, then she really realizes that, hey, you know, my front tire is basically flat now, which obviously it was low from the beginning and then flat, you know, now, which can be really dangerous, especially when you're high speed like this, going 30 miles per hour. You know, sometimes when your front is flat, like the bike simply won't steer. So she looks around, puts her hand up. It's kind of trying to move out of the way, not letting the girl, you know, some of these girls run into her. So she yells to them that, hey, I have a flat, keep going. And now she's searching for the pit, which is weird because, you know, a lot of our races here, the pit is right there near the start-finish line. Well, on this crit, the pit's not at the start-finish line. So she doesn't kind of know where the pit's at. So, you know, she has to kind of ride to it, doesn't want to run the bike. So she's kind of riding, trying to get to where the pit's at here. And obviously on a big scale like this, and someone invites you to guest ride, there's a lot of anxiety here going on. You know, you don't want to let the team down. The team spent money on you, you know, bought you a kit, all those kind of things. And, you know, you get a flat. So she has a little panic in her voice here. And that's Gabby right there, Gabby along passing. So yeah, there's a little bit of panic going on. She's trying to see here. She tells Aaron right there that, hey, she flatted. And he tells her to go to the pit, and she's trying to figure out if she can cut the course, if she can just run across and get there, but no one gives her a definitive answer.
Where's the tent? Where's...
Keep on going straight on the lap.
Stay! Ah!
Coming.
Help! Okay, front wheel flat. I don't have extra wheels, but...
Yeah. We got you. Take a breath. We got you.
You get a lap. You get it.
I also lost my Garmin on the course.
Okay, it's okay. You're good.
Okay, have you ever been reinserted into an easy enough gear to...
All right, so you can hear the panic in her voice. You know, it's kind of, you know, your adrenaline's rushing, things like that. Not only once you get a wheel, when you have like a neutral service or whatever, and you get a wheel, then you got to really race back on. You can see how fast the girls are going when they pass. Fortunately for Marlena, this is one of her strengths, is, you know, chasing. It's one of her strengths, being able to run down the peloton. As you guys know, that she's done that in the last couple races, in the P1, 2, 3 races down in California. So yeah, the group's going pretty hard, and she's gonna have to put in a pretty hard effort to kind of get back on the wheel here. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, I don't have power stats this time because, as you probably heard when she was in the pit, she lost her Garmin also. I think the Garmin came off on like lap 1 or 2. So I just got the metrics from the GoPro. So this is really just GPS data with the speed and the grade and the course layout. But I really don't have any cadence, heart rate, any power for this race here. So yeah, Marlena pretty much catches the peloton again like she normally does, and, you know, in a couple turns. Obviously, you got to put in a big effort to do that, but that's one of the good things at this moment, is she has that ability. And of course, we just got to get her some more confident and get her just not having such a slow start. She needs to start racing from the beginning, just settle into the race a little earlier instead of sitting in the back until she becomes comfortable or whatever the case may be. So the good thing is here, you know, now that she's had the flat, she's back in, she had to put in a good effort to warm up the legs to get back on to the peloton. Like, you've gotten a couple laps under your belt now, so she should start thinking and knowing, like, identifying some spots of where you can move up, you know, where it suits you, where you're a little bit more comfortable at, and then try to take advantage of those areas. Also, Shout out to I believe it's Sherry from Serious Cycling is in this race too. She raced both weekends, both races pretty well. She raced the Masters category, so if we get a glance at her, I'll try to point it out. But yeah, she representing Serious Cycling this weekend at Tulsa Tough, and did a pretty good job. I think one of the races, I don't know if it's this one or the next one, she got second, I believe, in the race. So yeah, even though Marlena's still at the back here, you can tell she's feeling a little bit more comfortable now, especially because at least she's getting the draft. Before, she was so far off the back when she had the leaking tire or whatever. She was completely detached from the peloton, but at least now she's a little bit more attached than she was before. Of course, as I say that, she loses a couple bike lengths. So I believe right here is one of those moments, and actually it's not, it must be on like the next lap. But like I said, when you've done a couple laps, even though it's a new circuit and you're kind of not comfortable with the course layout or whatever, you should at least be, every time you should be trying to figure out like, where's my strengths, where am I doing a little better, where are some of the other riders struggling at, where's a good spot for me to move up. I know a lot of it looks like it's single track, a lot of it looks like it's just one line through some of these turns because the road is narrow, but honestly, there's a little more room than you think. It's just like I said, in California, we have 4-lane roads out here. So, 2 lanes each side and sometimes a turning lane in the middle. So we have double what they're racing on here as far as width of the course. And sometimes that can, it's good. It's good for us because it makes it big and wide and real comfortable. But honestly, that's why I shouldn't say a lot, but some people struggle when they go to crits like this, or they go over to Europe where the roads are smaller, and a lot of California people and just people in the United States in general, sometimes they're not used to racing on really narrow roads that are fast paced and often have one line, and being in the back of the peloton can sometimes hurt you. Being back here can hurt you because it gets strung out really fast. Really soon, and then you got a lot of spots to make up when it's strung out like this. All right, so I fast forward a little bit. We don't need to just see Marlena hanging around the back the whole time. So I fast forward a little bit. There's about 3 laps to go now. Again, Damon's yelling to move up. The group has gotten thinned out a little bit as some of the ladies get dropped. So you still got about, maybe 20 women still in the front right now, in the front peloton. And now at least Marlena is trying to race now. She is having a little bit more urgency. Still got she's still near the back, got a couple girls behind her. But if you see here, she kind of moves up on the side here, kind of tries to go up the left side just to test it. But as you can see, the barrier starts to come in a little bit, so she doesn't think she has room to make it before the barriers come in. The group ends up sliding to the right, so she would have been fine shooting through there. But that's just one of the spots that she's testing to see, like, okay, can I move up there? And you'll see, like, on the next lap, she's definitely going to take advantage of that. But that was just kind of scouting it out and seeing if that's a good spot to move up or not. And that's on pretty much the only uphill portion of this course. So obviously the speed's going to go a little slower, and that's definitely a great chance to move up if you can. So as they make the left turn here, there should be going into 2 laps to go. So when I gave the ladies the kind of like the pregame tips, it was basically a couple things because, just scouting the course. I told them, hey, get a good start, which, Camila got a good start. She's up near the front. I told them because it's going to be single file. It's going to be hard to move up sometimes, especially if the pace is hot. It's going to be stretched out, and a lot of it's going to be, kind of like one line through good part of the course. Told them that the hill is a good place to move up. And I definitely said you got to be at least third wheel, no greater than third wheel coming out of the last turn on the last lap. So knowing that Camila's up front and you got Damon and Dave and Aaron, the rest of the LABA staff on the sidelines, kind of giving Marlena, the scoop, telling her to move up, trying to get up there to help Camila. Camila's been sitting in good position all race up there. So again, this is the spot here where last time Marlena kind of scouted it out, shooting up the left side. This time she says, okay, it's open, and she goes for it and just shoots up the left side here. And as you can see, when you're going uphill, a lot of the group's gonna slow down. A lot of people are trying to save that energy for the last lap. So Marlena looked to her right there. You can see that it made eye contact with Camila, just trying to stretch it out a little bit. There's only 2 of them, so she's not going to do a true lead out here. Again, because the laps are kind of big. But what she did is just try to stretch it out, and then Camila can slot in behind a couple girls that chase Marlena, which is exactly what Camila did. She just, got into like the 5th wheel spot, and that's perfect with a lap and a half to go. So Marlena knows that she's the only one left, so she's not trying to go, as hard as she could right now. She just needs to go fast enough to where no one's going to attack and where Camila's not going to get swarmed on the last lap. So here as they make the left, they're going into the last lap here. Once they pass the finish line, that's the bell lap. You'll probably hear a little bit of shaking if I'm not running my mouth. But yeah, so just trying to keep the speed high, trying not to burn yourself out. But keep it high enough again to where none of the women are going to be wanting to attack. Like I said before, most of this it's wider than it appears, but a lot of women don't have the experience to understand that, so they're not going to just shoot up the inside here, kind of reckless. So unfortunately, as Marlena turns here, double flat. She gets her second flat of the race, so she makes the turn. Bike goes flat again, and unfortunately, her race is pretty much done. I mean, she's able to just limp in because there's only like half a lap to go. But yeah, she has a flat now, and of course everyone's gonna just pass. So her tire is flat, and it's just really unfortunate as you see another girl tries to attack there. That's Camila shooting up the left side there. She's still in about 5th wheel. Marlena puts her hand up here, just letting everyone know that she has a flat. Motorcycle will pull up next to her, and the motorcycle, remember, she had a flat a second ago and just got a wheel, so she's kind of telling her, and she's like, yeah, unfortunately I've done this before, so I kind of know my way around the course now. So, but the good thing is, just stretching out the group like that caused people to burn a little bit of energy as it was stretched out, and Camila did exactly what the game plan was. She was second or third coming out of the last turn, and Camila ended up winning the race in a sprint to the line. So that was her first race of this year, and it worked out perfect for us because, like I said, we've been doing a lot of hard work from the off season, during the season, and this was pretty much our A race here, and it just worked out perfectly. And there was a lot of tears on this day because, when you set a plan, you have a goal, you set this, you set Tulsa Tough as your A race, and it comes together, and she wins the first race of the weekend because the women's 2, 3, and Masters, they only got to race Saturday and Sunday. So, yeah, it worked out perfectly. Camila pulled off the game plan perfectly. Marlena was able to help her on that last lap and a half. As you see, another girl still passes Marlena because she has a flat. I believe Marlena ended up in like 20th place or something, and obviously Camila took the victory. So, but yeah, it was a great job by Camila. I wish I'd had her on the camera this time, but we didn't. We had Marlena with the camera today. So yeah, we'll get the Crybaby Hill video out where Camila's wearing the camera, and we'll get that out to you pretty soon. I'll probably let this one sit for a day or two, and then I'll put the Crybaby Hill video out. So anyway, thanks for watching, and congratulations to Camila and LABA for just all the work that they've done, and Camila coming home with the victory here.